Time now for Media Watch, and Emma James has joined us in the studio. It's good to see you, Emma. We're going to go back to our top story, of course, this missile launch, the first long-range missile successfully launched by North Korea. A lot of people around the world are alarmed. You've been looking at some of the reactions online.
Yes, absolutely. Alarmed, concerned. A lot of people really very worried about this because it's something that's been talked about for so long, and this is the first time that it seems to have actually happened. But as with all things serious, there are certain cartoonists who can still find a way to be humorous in amongst the drama. Christian Adams in the London Evening Standard has come up with this cartoon.
Some trumpet players.
Yes, the trumpets come later.
Yes, I can see what that is.
And this is Donald Trump, of course, and not to the fact that it is, of course, Independence Day in the United States. He is lighting a firework while Kim Jong-un has a ballistic missile pointed somewhere that the sun does not shine. But of course, Donald Trump's reaction himself on Twitter has also got a great deal of attention. Not necessarily for the right reasons. North Korea has just launched another missile. Does this guy have anything better to do with his life? Lots of people pointing out the immense hypocrisy of that particular tweet, given how much time Donald Trump spends A, on a golf course, and B, on Twitter. He says, hard to believe that South Korea and Japan will put up with this much longer. Perhaps China will put a heavy move on North Korea and end this nonsense once and for all. Now, nobody knows quite what that means, but it's certainly not diplomatic language. And if you want a bit more information about North Korea and how it works, there's a very, very interesting thread written by Laura Rosenberger. She was a former foreign policy advisor to Hillary Clinton when she was Secretary of State. But it's not really a partisan thing. It's not about politics. This is just somebody who has studied North Korea very closely.
About diplomacy, isn't it? About the workings of diplomacy.
Absolutely. And what she says is we spent hours poring over North Korean statements to understand their thinking. And she says they will be doing the same. She says it's time to drop the pretense that his tweets can ever be considered anything other than official statements. She said North Korea uses its propaganda arms very, very carefully indeed. And they do it to signify exactly what it is that they're thinking. They're very careful with their words and how they use them. And of course, they will be assuming that Donald Trump is doing the same thing as the President of the United States, whereas his tweets tend to seem, at least on the surface of it, seem to be impulsive. Off the top of his head.
Right,
absolutely. Very much so. Looking elsewhere at some of the coverage of this, The Guardian has a very interesting article written by Simon Tisdall, and I'm paraphrasing him here, but basically he says that while Trump is busy tweeting, the Chinese and Russian presidents are actually doing some real work. He says there's a diplomatic double act that contrasts sharply with Donald Trump's crude threats and pressure tactics. And he says that Chinese media is reporting that there is actually an agreement reached between Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin for a joint push for a proper settlement via dialogue and negotiation with North Korea. He goes on to call Trump an amateur, seeing him as becoming increasingly alienated while all the other countries are working together, while Donald Trump is just concerned with saber rattling.
And all of this, of course, just before the G20, when Donald Trump will literally be meeting other world leaders. And let's stay with Trump because it is, of course, the 4th of July, Independence Day in the US. Big celebrations there. And Trump's been on Twitter talking about that as well. A stirring tribute to himself. Interesting.
Yes, I think that's probably the best way to put it. Everyone wondered how this fiercely patriotic president was going to mark Independence Day, the 4th of July. And he, of course, tweeted about it with the hashtags Happy Independence Day and included a clip of music which raised a few eyebrows. Take a listen.
America great again. All right.
Absolutely. Very stirring indeed. That was actually performed by the First Baptist Church of Dallas, a song based, of course, on his campaign slogan, Make America Great Again. It was performed at a Celebrate Freedom rally on Saturday at the Kennedy Center in the American capital. Lots of people loved it. Trump fans, of course, thinking it's a great ode to the man and the country. Others said this, just like the founders wanted the president's celebrates the 4th with a musical rendition of his campaign slogan. And British paper The Independent says this: it was a red, white and blue vomit of pomp and circumstance.
Oh, dear. You've got to admit, it is catchy, Emma. Come on.
It's been in my head all day.
I bet it has. Emma, thanks very much indeed. Emma